a bread in the oven and the bread is burnt at the bottom and everybody like the burn part of the thing, that is cancergen. Yeah.
So yo, we are back. You know what this is already. You should have been watching the previous episodes, and if you haven't, top corner, go and watch that video there. Again, we're back at the place,
Yes, yeah.
which you should know already. So we are back with Philibert, the guy you have come to know and love. So let's get back to the man himself. And Philibert, once again we are here.
Greetings. Tonight's Stalin. Greetings, my beloved. You know, usually we bless the occasion. How good and how pleasant it is for us to dwell together in love and unity. It is like a precious ointment that is thrown upon the head of I and I locks that run forth to the skirts of I garment. For this, the Almighty has so loved and is so preciously made of.
Yeah.
Amansla.
Big up.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, me I Jen.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
we steadfast already.
Yes.
We
yes.
steadfast already.
So, Philibert, so we're going to have a discussion today about a situation that's been affecting people for maybe over 20 years. It's been a rapid rise in this, and what that is, that's cancer. In St. Vincent, it seems like it's popping up amongst several people.
Yeah.
So, what is your vision on why this may be happening so rapidly?
Okay, my brethren. I really love how you really reach me on that level there. Because you get to open up a jar of very sacred stuff. You see me? Now, cancer is something that come like what we call farm from cancergen. And cancergen is a burnt product. So when we have organic materials and we have organic materials that is burnt too much, it forms what we call cancergen. Now I'm going to give you an idea of how cancergen is formed. If, let me say, you know, we in the Caribbean, we have things like we're going to be making we'll be cooking. And while we're cooking, we're going to use a little burnt sugar now. We're going to burn the sugar. Alright? And form something looking like a browning for pilau. You see all that burning? That is what causing cancergen. You bake a bread in the oven and the bread is burnt at the bottom and everybody like the burn part of the thing. That is cancergen.
Wow. You
see? So cancergen could be a smoky flavor. A person could say, well, I like a little, you know, in early times when we were youth, we used to scrape the pot at the bottom of it and get something we call bun. You know? And we didn't like this bun. Something. We don't like that because it all tastes all salty and so. But here what happen? All them bun thing is cancergen. You see? So organic material, when it is burnt, it forms a chemical called cancergen. And we as a people, we have moved over to a lot of burnt flavors. Smoky sauce. You understand what I'm saying? We charred barbecue and charred thing. We're not looking down anything specific. So we're looking at all the charred reasoning. You know, everything that is burnt. You know see? And when that is burnt, that form a substance called cancergen. So cancergen could be in so many things. Because even in our drinks, we have that burnt flavor. We have that blackish looking flavor where we getting from caramel, you know. And that also is something that you're burning and browning. You know see? You go on things like dark drinks like Guinness and Pepsi. All those things are, you know, burnt stuff. Because you are charring the grain or whatever to get that color. And when you char it to that level, it creates a substance that called cancergen. You know, I don't want you to think, well, cancergen is something mysterious. Because ancient people never have cancer. Why ancient people never have cancer? Cancer is more, they say, a modern day something. Because look how many smoky cities we there. Yeah? Look how many burnt energies that we are around. You see? Cause all your air condition and all them things there, brethren, them thing is burnt stuff. Things that is burning, water that is burning, that is creating these gases. And people living on these structures. And these structures, when you intake them for a good period of time, you gain different cancers in according to which part of your structure taking the beating. So this is why the Rasta man go forward to a natural ital life, natural living, because natural living constitutes of good health. This is not something we speak in because I'm a Rasta man. This is something that is scientifically, philosophically, and naturally proven. The things of nature that eat grass are the longest livers. It goes to say that a cat who is eating a rat can't live as long as a horse who is eating the grass. So nature have given us definition. You know, it has given us definition in things. That if we are reasonably wise and overstanding, we can draw from these things now and see in a natural way what is and what is not. Now, you are not a flesh-eating person by nature. Human beings are not. Because a flesh-eating animal, as you can clearly see, it have fangs to tear with, you know, and it have structures that will use in using something fleshly. You understand me?
Yeah,
So in that way, these animals would have a shorter intestine, because you can be eating flesh and have a long intestine like a cow. You're going to have problems with that, because what going to go on is that the flesh is going to be there so long that's going to cause tapeworms. You know, it's gonna require worms to help it to break down itself in your intestine, because that is going to be there overwearingly long. Then your system has to produce a high amount of acid in order to break that stuff down. And by time it get through, breaking that stuff down, you has offered the altar another meal and another meal of the same thing. So then acid is never out of your system. And you have to realize that acid is a sole cause of disease in the human system. So the foods you indulge in that create high acidity in your system are those foods that give you a high indulgence of disease. You know, the amount of disease that human beings suffer from, to be honest with you, the amount of doctors they have, the amount of hospitals there is, and healthcare centers there is. Now, the animals don't have all the high healthcare system, and they don't suffer the amount of disease that I and I suffer from. They don't suffer the amount of deformities that I and I suffer from. And it is clearly visible. And they don't have the checkups, and they don't have the health care, and they don't have the many things to rely on to give them that. But yet still, they maintain a better health standard at an overall amount than human being. You know?
Yeah.
We almost is born with disease. We almost, you could say, is born with disease from we off the jump street, from we womb grew up, we have something uneasy to fight with. And there is something, there is either a deficiency or a disease, a discomfort, and that come from, again, the protraction of our diet. 80% of what destroy the people in the Caribbean is communicable. So we are being destroyed by the food we eat. 80% of the disease that common human beings in the Caribbean are communicable disease. And I'm saying communicable disease because I need you to know a communicable disease is something that communicating with you. It's what you're eating and what you're drinking. It's the good things that you're refusing to make a habit for your own good and for your own proper well-being. You see it? So that is why we have a serious problem when it comes to cancer and what create that. The various air that we breathe in being so heavy and lead light. You understand? If a person had to be standing up in the air all the time, he could end up with cancer. The very chalk that we're writing with on the blackboard, if a teacher be using that chalk too often and breathing in that chalk dust, they could also end up with cancer. Because it is something communicating with us. All our living strong. Our environment has become our hazard. It has become a place that it only makes us sick. And we should retract and retreat and watch carefully what we have done to ourselves by thinking we're so wise and so fancy. The best structure for the earth is a garden. No matter where we run or how we twist, it is what the Creator has given us from the beginning, a garden. And He has taught us garden cultures. That is the first agriculture. That is the first subject, and that is the first profession that was taught to man. You understand me? And man betray that profession because man look at agriculture as something lesser than everything, and agriculture is what bring him everything. You know what I'm saying? Because we go forward to the days of adult suffrage. In adult suffrage is the people who had land, who could vote, who get authority to do anything. These people, when they done develop their children from the land, their children went to proper school and got proper education, but they never returned to the land that their foreparents took them from. So that land as a heritage to these people, they will just carelessly and quickly sell that for material heritage, and they end up earning big material things and lose the heritage of the land. So for years and years you never have people returning to the land because they think the land is not for educated people. They feel the land is a place where, you know, is if you don't get education and if you don't be in school. That's a big mistake. Because from that time till now, Rastafari, the natural liver, is the only man we return to the land. He is the only culture that puts the land as a sustainable development to his liberty and his culture. And hadn't he done that, we would have gone straight away and leave the land out. We'd have sell out all we land to some kind of bogus industry or to make something else other than to farm it and to make it worthy for the population, for the population. We have to know these things. And this is the cost now that we end up while we're running away from naturalness. We end up with cancer as a disease. You know, and people ask, you know, well, why are you catching this kind of cancer or that kind of cancer? Because it's various things you are wrong. That is burning. That is burning organic matter. And you are inhaling that and breathing that or eating that or drinking that. That in process of time will lead to cancer. We can't just treat the goodie as with the Rasta man. You would say body, and I would say goodie. Because I don't see how the body become bad. A body. We see it as a goodie. Because this is your vehicle. This is your church. This is your house. This is your tabernacle. In this tabernacle is where you praise the Almighty. It's not in a building, you know. Those are buildings that we go for fellowship. But the real true temple is your body. And this is one of the first ingrained things of the natural living of the Rasta man. Is to show human beings that they are the kingdom of the Almighty here on earth. And it is by caring themselves and doing the things that is right for themselves, they will witness in themselves natural miracles, healing glories, significantly disease that would come and pass away only because their life standard and their living standard are risen into best practices. And when you give yourself these best practices, you actually heal yourself. You make yourself your own healing machine. You turn on healing cells inside you that start to activate and mend many of your problems and deformities that you had previously. So you could be sabotaging yourself by involving yourself in fast food. Fast food only means fast destruction to yourself. So when you say, well, I run in here for fast food, you could be only seriously indulging to a fast destruction of yourself. Try to be more kosher with your meals. Try to be more genuine with your meals. More prayerful, more honorable. Try to treat your meals as a divine place and a divine artistry. We don't have people praying over the meals anymore. People just run to the meals and gobble.
Yes.
I hear the cock crow same time. You know, because the cock knows say them are just gobble.
Yes.
You know, they ain't even chewing the food. You hear? The cock saying, yeah, you're not chewing your food, you're swallowing it like he gobbling. But the difference with he have a craw that grinds things for him. Hear him again. I want you to hear his rhythm because he talk to you too. Not only I, creation is speaking and crying out and showing you that a natural liberty could bear no regrets. Absolutely none. You can't ever be sorry for living natural. You see? Because you can turn back cancers and different things that is happening to you. You can switch on different cells and turn that back by what? By a natural appreciation of your meals. So instead of you be taking disease in a bottle like bullets, these men shape these things like bullets and shooting you in your mouth. Because when these things fall inside your stomach, it's like an explosion. It's like a grenade drop in your belly. Because your stomach is supposed to have bacteria in it that help you to use food properly. So when you have to swallow all these synthetic bullets, it mash up the stomach. And the nice bacteria, the beautiful, well, those ain't gonna be bacteria, those be the good bacteria. The beautiful good bacteria inside the interior. You know? I'm telling you, from a very aspirate, go up. It's like a grenade you're throwing in your system. You know? And it's creating and destroying your genome, your stomach genome that you are supposed to have there, that's supposed to help you in the digestion. You know, because I would love to call it live jest. You know, forgive me, but I would like to say it is live digestion. It is digestion when you eat in dead things, because these things are dying in your chest. So it is really a digestion that is going on, because you're taking your beautiful body, the thing you spraying up, and using it as a burial ground for cats and dogs and sheep and goats and chickens and pigs and hogs. And then you say you hire. Oh, you hire I am higher than the animals, but the animals ain't eating you for their lunch. But you find it so domineering in your category to eat an animal for you. We have in our hand right now as a human population, we have agriculture that could turn deserts into greenlands. We have urban tech. We have so many varieties. We have tissue culture. We have so many varieties and cross-section of multiplying the earth platform and greenness to a bountiful amount that we can complain and we can make animals look like, oh my gosh, you're running out of organic animals. You're really running out of organic animals. You are not having animals that are organically fed. You are having animals that have to take every week. It have to take antibiotics every week. And then you know feeding off of that. They're giving you that properly dyed up with a red dye. And ask yourself what this red dye is made of. Something grind down, some bacteria or some little insect. And they're taking that and dye it and giving you. And then they put in ammonium and other things on it to make it last. Brethren, we can do much better with the knowledge and the agriculture that we have. We have knowledge that we could turn the sea into a fertile place of food. We have the knowledge that we could turn the desert into agricultural greenery. So I don't see that in any way what I am saying is lacking in knowledge and understanding. Because if you add a little more herb to your life, you add a little more life to life itself. You see what I'm saying? So we need to go forward to the cultural apparatus that we were living with bush teas. You know, with body me eye, with part of my life. We see it on the leaf. You know, when we coming up, we used to have to drink these things as, you know, we ancestors used to make sure every certain time you had to go through your castor oil treatment, your this treatment. They would make sure you get in your bark, your all leaf bath, and all these things have natural connotation to natural liberty. The Rastaman is only making that natural liberty there a prospect. One of the reasons why the Rastaman get all this fighting is that he reminds us of where we were and where we come from. So he is the root of our situation. Henceforth, we represent the root of our people and the structure of our people. We are just simply asking to remind them of the virtual good health that was handed down from trial and error to our African kinfolk. We have African people now don't even know what to eat. They want chow mein, Chinese chow mein. They want Italian meal. It's good for Italian meal and it's good for Chinese for have their own men. But where is yours? Because the zebra may not eat the same food as the monkey. And he may not eat the same food as the antelope. So like we say sometimes, sheep and goat are graze, but they not graze on the same grass. You see? So the sheep have his own diet, though he graze in grass, and the goat have his own diet. You see? Though he graze in grass. So where is the African diet? What is the food that the African man used to live so long from? You first have to go into that and realize that you are a combination, your environment, your food, and yourself is one triune that will not be divided. The air you breathe, the food you eat, and the place you stand will not divide you. And it will not be divided from you to be anything different. This is why we are the power of the Trinity. Because the Trinity will always stand with us as a triangle and as a tripartisan to our liberty. That's why we are a human being. You see it? We are both mind, body, and spirit.
Yes. So
Highly high.
definitely. So that's been a very enlightening subject today with Philibert, and I hope you have taken some of that information. So when you next start having a meal, you're aware of how this works and how much damage this can cause you. So, Philibert, do you have one last thing to say to the viewers?
Yeah, I have one last thing to say to the viewers. I would love to say, verily I say unto you, you are what you eat. You could be eating and you're eating disease and you're fighting the same disease. You could be eating and you're eating health. You are what you eat. So try to make your meals a better one and a more healthier one and a more sustainable one. This reasonable thought is not just from I, but it's from the universe to the I. I would love to say thanks again. And Satamasagan and Ying Masgan. This means I'm giving thanks. I'm giving thanks.
Yes.
In my original tongue.
So that's you big up. So make sure in the corner, you should see in the top corner, there's other links for Philibert to go and watch back. So stay safe, stay blessed. To the next one, we're out.
All right.